part of that bug that we get bit by in recruiting is we get to see the positive impact that we have, right? When we put an individual into a company, we can see how happy they are, how it's changed, their life and where they are in their career trajectory. It's true of our companies too.
Welcome back to Talent Hunters, powered by MRI Network, where each week we talk with the world's top talent strategists and executive recruiters. If you want to build talented teams that drive your company to big goals and big growth, then this podcast is for you. And now, let's join the conversation with today's episode of Talent Hunters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vince Holt, the host of Talent Hunters. Today, I'm proud to say that we have Lauren Kesterson, president of Management Recruiters of Raleigh, North Carolina, with us. Now, there's a little story that goes along with Lauren. She has been in this business at some level literally since birth. In fact, there is a little rumor going around that her first sentence was, "I got a guy." Bringing us up to speed. Last year, Management Recruiters of Raleigh finished 17th in the world, which is just a tremendous accomplishment. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here today with you, Vince.
So it's such a pleasure to have you here. So, Lauren, let's start this thing out like we do. Tell us a little bit about yourself. 25 years in this business. Tell us a little bit about yourself and really what led you to where you are today.
It's interesting. I talk to a lot of people who I'm interviewing to be recruiters. And I joke with everyone that no one grew up wanting to be a recruiter. And here you are laying out my background. Well, that was true of me too, right? My parents started this business in 1980. I worked in the business kind of off and on, little chores here and there. In the 80s, I would come in on the weekends and put note cards in alphabetical order because we didn't have computer systems in place at that time. Just to kind of age myself a little bit there. And over time, I took on a little bit bigger roles in the office, helping out here and there. And by the time I was a senior in college, they were getting ready to migrate to computers on every desk, have a Microsoft system. And I knew Microsoft because of my years, going to college. And I led that initiative and trained everybody on what they needed to know. We had a database system where we didn't really have one before. It was really an exciting time. And it was the first time that I was truly involved in the business and started to understand what it's all about. I grew up listening to my parents talk at dinner about different topics, things that were going on in the office, but I didn't truly understand. Like most people who were outside of recruiting looking in, I didn't really get it until I was in it. And my goodness, I just fell in love, right? This is a very unique business. It's a unique opportunity to be able to work with people and help companies find great talent, build out entire teams. And yeah, I've been here ever since. They haven't been able to get rid of me. So here I am, 25 years later.
Well, I've got tremendous history with your company, with your office. My very first split happened in 1986 or 87 with Paul Goudat.
Of course, Paul.
And I'm telling you, Paul and I became very, very close friends and so forth through the business. And he was just a role model. And of course, your folks taught him this business and so forth. And that was my tie to your organization. So I thank them through you for that opportunity. So your office has specialized in a lot of different digs. What specifically are you guys specializing in today?
We're a pretty diverse office. Our primary industries now, we're working really with STEM. So we're working in construction, we're working in environmental construction, we're in chemicals, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, and accounting and finance. And just to add to that, the areas that we specialize in right now, we have really subject matter experts in those areas. You talk about the longevity of this office, and we have just really phenomenal tenure here. I ran a few numbers before we jumped on just to see what our average tenure is. It's 15 years. Our guys are they're good at this, right? They got bit by the bug too, and they fell in love with it, and they're here and they're committed and really are true subject matter experts in their fields.
It is interesting, and I have to agree with you that you don't go to school to learn this business. You don't grow up wanting to be a recruiter. In fact, when I first heard somebody recommend that I go become a recruiter, I did not want to go into the military. I didn't get it. But the people that get this in their blood, they can't leave. They just can't, because it just satisfies something in their brain, their heart, their body that they just can't walk away from. And so I agree with your comments. You talked about your background was in computer. So I'm going to ask you a little something here that I don't ask a lot of people. How has AI or technology impacted your business there?
When I look at where I started, right? If you look back in 1999, where we were just evolving from faxing resumes to emailing resumes. Job boards were coming out. Internet research was starting to become a job role for us. I mean, over the years, there have just been tremendous technological advances, right? That we have love-hate relationships with sometimes, right? Like I remember when the job boards were new, everyone was telling us that that's it for recruiting. It's over. No one's going to need recruiters anymore. And yet, they do, because while the job boards are very helpful, they don't solve the problem. LinkedIn, I feel, was another big kind of change that happened in the industry. I think before LinkedIn, we would call people and they would answer the phone. And now they just don't. And it's not LinkedIn's fault. It's more, so many people are calling, right? And it happens to all of us. We get a call and we don't recognize the number, and we just kind of shove the phone aside and move on with our day. AI, I think, is another one of those, I don't want to say disruptor, because I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but I think it's the next change in technology that is really going to evolve how we go about doing business. And I don't think that we're quite there yet with it, but I can see big changes coming with AI. And it is something that we take advantage of. When we are using AI in our office, we're mostly using it to help us write our thoughts down. We're recruiters, we're salespeople. We're not always the best at getting our ideas down on paper. And AI can really help us do that. We're using it to help us search. We have all of these different tools to try to help us find talent for the leaders and executives that we partner with. And AI is another tool that can help us do that. And sometimes it can help us find a few people that some of these other tools haven't found. I am hearing ideas on the forefront with AI, where AI can help you screen. It can kind of do an initial almost interview with a candidate. And I don't feel great about those aspects of it, because I know that while it may be a great time savings, there's going to be a lot of things that fall through the cracks. until all the kinks and everything really get ironed out. So I think it's something that we need to watch and be continuously learning about. And I think it's going to change a whole lot of things, but we're just not quite there yet.
I love how you worded everything in that, because I was around when the fax machine was born and it was going to run us out of business. And then the computer was going to run us out of business. And technology is just moving at the speed of light now. And technology has really three facets. It can destroy a recruiter if they rely on it 100%. It can help a recruiter if they learn about how to use it as a tool. It can truly absorb a recruiter if they decide it's the answer.
I think that's really spot on, Vince. I mean, I mentioned that our specialty areas are really in that STEM area. And part of the reason that we've selected those industries is because there is a candidate shortage in STEM, right? Everyone's been talking about it for years. We really feel it right now. I think the National Association of Manufacturing said there was going to be something like a 3.5 million STEM candidate shortage by 2025. And, some days it really feels like that is an accurate number. AI can help us connect perhaps with more of those people. But if there is a true candidate shortage, and there is with a lot of the engineers that we're working, they're fully employed. They are not going to respond well to some kind of AI reaching out to them. If and when we reach out to someone who is a professional in that industry, we need to have some value that we're bringing them, right? That there needs to be some meat behind that conversation. Or why else are they going to take our call and have that conversation? So I think to your point, yes, AI is going to be a really great tool, but especially in these areas where there's just a shortage of good talent, you've got to have that relationship. You've got to have that partner who is going to know who they can call, which areas of the country might be good targets to reach out to, and also have a good, compelling reason to be calling those candidates and entice them with a new opportunity.
So walk us through, if you would, a typical process from A to Z when you've got a brand new client.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So, the very first step is we are going to do a pretty thorough intake call. And again, these recruiters in our office, they've been doing this for a very long time, and they know their industry very, very well. And the beginning of the call, kind of getting to know each other, right? We're getting to know this executive or leader within the company. And by the end of the call, it's so many times people say, you guys are very thorough. You ask a lot of really great questions. Other recruiters that we're working with, they're not diving in this deep. And I can tell what you're talking about, right? And that means a lot. That builds that rapport and confidence between that executive and the recruiter. And we're doing it because we want to save them time, right? We want to find the right match for their opportunity. And the only way we can do that is a pretty good phone call where we're diving in deep and uncovering exactly what it is they need. But we also need to uncover from them why somebody would want to join their organization, right? Help us sell you. Help us take, this opportunity to somebody who's been with their current organization for years and they're very happy and they're not looking for a new role, right? What is it about this opportunity that makes it appealing? The other thing that we're doing in that call is we are finding out what their hiring process is. What are the steps that they are going to take to interview this person? And we want to do a few things there. One, we want to make sure that they have a process, because if they don't, then we want to work on that. And two, we want to make sure it's a good process. We want our companies to really, truly vet these candidates and make sure they have what they need. But we want them to do it efficiently. We want them to do it pretty quickly because, again, these candidates are employed. They weren't looking for a new role. We've enticed them. So if we get them into a process, it needs to be a good one. It needs to be one where they're moving forward consistently and where we're not having to take a break for a couple of weeks to figure out what the next step is. We're going to lose their interest. So it is a very in-depth intake call. We are advising our clients in a lot of ways in what we're seeing in the marketplace. We will often let them know, some salary survey type information. Here's what the competitive landscape looks like for your specific area in your industry. And we're going to partner with them and find out, are there kind of fishing holes that you want us to go fish in and find people? From that point, we're going to lay out an interviewing process. Somebody may want to Zoom interview a candidate first and then bring them in and meet them face to face. But we will work, of course, with them throughout that process. And then whenever it gets time to extend an offer and acceptance, everybody has the answers to the test, right? There are no surprises at this point. Our executive knows how much it's going to take to get that candidate. Our candidate knows, what to expect going into this process. Really, at that point, everybody is informed and knows what's going on throughout that process. So it's an easy decision to make at the end, right? We're not getting to the end and kind of figuring things out. We know it before we get there. And then once a candidate starts with a company, we stay in touch. We're going to work with them for the next few months to make sure that onboarding period is going smoothly, that transition is going well, and making sure that really their time with this new company is going as smoothly as it possibly can.
Basic MRI training.
Basic MRI training.
I love it. Lauren, how do you help your account executives? You said that they had average of 15 years in your office. How do you help them not get complacent?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a large reason that our team here doesn't get complacent is they have that natural curiosity. They have a commitment to this industry. I have 5 recruiters here representing those 5 different industry specialty areas, and 4 of them are eligible for CSAM. 3 of them are CSAM. 1 is getting ready to take the test. And I think that really shows the commitment to the profession, right? They believe in continuous learning. They want to get better. Relationship building really hasn't changed tremendously over the years, but the way that we get to the conversations to build the relationships has changed dramatically. So we're just big believers in continuous education. We constantly have ongoing training on different topics. AI is a great subject that we're talking about, but we share a lot with each other in our office too. We're working with people, and every time you work with a person, it's a unique experience. So we'll share a lot of these experiences with each other in our meetings and talk about, okay, this has happened. I haven't experienced it before. Does anybody have any guidance or suggestions on how we can work through it? And it's really great to have this much tenure in the office because we've got great ideas and we can help each other out. So I think part of it is just, it's the makeup of the team, and it's part of our DNA to want to learn, to want to stay on top of our skill set and our profession here and just always get better.
You're so even-keeled. I admire you so much. I mean, I don't know if I've ever even heard a rumor that you got upset or got wound up or anything that would take you off of who you are. And what a credit.
Thank you. That's a very nice compliment. I will admit sometimes it's like the duck with the feet kicking under the water. There may be a little bit going on under the surface, but I guess I just feel like, we know what we're doing. We're good at what we do, and we can figure it out together.
Is there a particular, being thoroughly in the business for 25 years, is there a particular success story that really stands out to you, whether it was you or your team member or somebody? Is there one that really stands out that you can share?
Yes. I think of, and there are a couple that come to mind that are similar. So I'll try not to mix them up. But, we pride ourselves in what we do, and we want to do a good job for the companies that we partner with. And sometimes the road to get there is a little bit rocky. So I can think of one example where there was a particular company that we really wanted to do business with. And they had policies in place that really kept them from partnering with a third-party recruiter. But one of the executives within the company said, you know what, I'm not getting the talent that I need on the higher levels, right? I need help. I like what you're saying. I like the candidates that you are pitching to me, and I really want to work with you. So I'm going to partner with you, but it's going to come out of my budget, right? Versus, Talent Ac overall. And so we did that, and we did a few placements with that executive, and it worked really well. And another executive in the company heard about it and said, I want to do that too. And so we did. And at that point, someone from Talent Ac reached out and said, we've heard that this is going on, and we're impressed. We want you to do this for all of the divisions in our company. And it's that kind of, we build a relationship with one person, but then that leads to another person, and that leads to another. And then suddenly, we've got this network of people within this company where we're partnering and we're their go-to supplier for top talent within the organization. And that's so exciting, right? I think part of that bug that we get bit by in recruiting is we get to see the positive impact that we have, right? When we put an individual into a company, we can see how happy they are, how it's changed, their life and where they are in their career trajectory. Well, it's true of our companies too. Those executives were really appreciative. They needed people, and these people were really hard to find. So I think it's stories like that, but that one just really stands out because it was such a big reach within one company. But yeah, we love being able to see that positive impact and that ripple effect within the organizations that we help.
Yeah. You bring up something that you've used the word relationship. And I've done a fair amount of these podcasts, and everybody references relationship. Lauren, for the benefit of our audience, candidates, other offices that'll view this, client companies that'll view this, define what you mean by relationship.
Well, it can mean a lot of things, really. It's a connection with another person, however that needs to be. So sometimes that relationship might look like a trusted partner and advisor, where we are truly consulting with an executive in a company when they have an opening. And they want and need a little bit of guidance in the type of individual that they need to fill that role, along with, market conditions, how much it's going to cost to get them, how difficult it is going to be to find that person. That relationship, that trust, that rapport, all of that, I guess those are all words that I would roll up into relationship. And then I would say on the flip side of that, a relationship with a candidate or maybe even a potential candidate. It could be, someone that we've had one or two conversations with and getting to know them and what the next step in their career should look like. But we don't have a role that would be the right match for them at this moment. So we haven't, walked them through an entire process yet, but we've gotten to know them a little bit and we know what they're looking for as the next step in their career. And we're going to keep them in mind for whenever we uncover something that we think is going to fit those needs. So the relationship here, person to person, right? It's a conversation. It's multiple conversations. We're really getting to know somebody's motivators, the reasons why they might want to make a change or why they might want one company versus another or one title versus another or one candidate versus another. We were talking about AI earlier, and I really think this relationship piece is what's missing from AI. It's this piece that is hard to program into a model to really get to know the nuances of each individual. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into a relationship, but I would say mostly it's that personal element.
And I capsulate everything that you just got done saying by, it sounds like you put whoever you're talking to first and how you can bring value to their need.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Whether it's an executive in a company that we're partnering with, or it's a candidate who, might fill a role that we are looking to fill, they come first for a lot of reasons. But most of the companies that we work with them many times over the years, right? It's repeat customers that come back and we get to know them and we like working with them. And I think the candidates are often in the same boat. Sometimes we're working with them for a long time, many years, right? They end up moving to another company and become an executive that reaches out to us and says, "Hey, can you help us find some people here?" It really is more about the long game, right? We are not a transactional firm. It really is long-term relationships for us.
So I'm an executive in a major corporation. Why should I use Management Recruiters of Raleigh?
Well, if you're partnering with us, then you are working in an area where there is a severe candidate shortage. And you need to work with somebody who really knows and understands the market, who has a multitude of connections in the marketplace and can find that right talent to get to you and help you fill that role. Not just quickly and efficiently, but the right person, right? And I really think that's where the subject matter expert comes into play. Again, average 15 years tenure for each person in the office. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of experience that they bring to the table.
So Lauren, you've been dedicated to this business since before you even knew you were going to get into this business. What does Lauren Kesterson do to unwind when she walks away from the business at night?
I am so fortunate to have a wonderful family unit at home. I've got just the most supportive husband in the world, who I appreciate just to the ends of the earth. I've got 2 kids, a 17-year-old son who's a rising senior, and a 20-year-old daughter who is finishing her sophomore year in college. And right now they're all home, right? So when I go home tonight, they're all home, and it's wonderful just to spend time with them. I'm an avid gardener as well. I love being outside. I love getting my hands in the dirt. And I think that's kind of funny to think about all the seeds that we plant here in recruiting. And I go home and do that too. But it's the same kind of passion, I guess, that I get out of that, watching the fruits of your labor grow and turn into something. It's a lot of fun.
5 to 10 years out, what's your vision?
5 to 10 years out. 5 to 10 years out. Yeah. I hope then that our average tenure is 20 years here in the office. I would like to add a couple more people to our team. I think that, again, the industries that we serve, we're pretty passionate about. And there's a need, right? Again, huge candidate shortage. It would be great to have, a few more people come in that we get up to speed and teach the industry and help them become experts as well. That's really it. I mean, I would love to have the people that we have today because they're phenomenal, and add a couple more phenomenal people to the team.
Well, Lauren, I sure appreciate your time on here. Do you have a question for me?
Vince, you have been doing this for so long, and I have admired you over the years, and just the attitude and passion that you bring to the business. I would ask you, how do you maintain that day after day, year after year? Because you're someone who doesn't ever seem to have a down day. Whenever I talk to you, it's always uplifting. It's always positive. You just always have something wonderful to say. How do you do it?
Well, thank you for the kind words. And it's amazing what people see on the front isn't necessarily everything that goes on in the back. But I look at what we do for a living as a gift. I spent a lot of years doing other things before I got into this. And this business is a gift from the standpoint that you get to be you if you allow yourself to be you. Don't try to be something else. You're a perfect example of this. But I guess what it is it's all about helping other people get what they need. Yeah, we make good money in this business. I've never been focused on the money. And I think that's a secret of this business. If you don't focus on the money and you focus on really what you've got to do to help somebody else, whether it's a client company or a candidate or another recruiter or whoever you're involved with, it's easy to talk about this business and it's easy to be happy about what you do. The people that focus on money struggle because you set a goal for dollars, you reach that goal for dollars, and now what? Champions will reset a new goal. Other people don't know what to do. So it's an interesting question. I'm very, very happy. I've got 10 grandkids, 4 kids. I have the most wonderful wife in the world. And I would not be here today if it wasn't for her. And so I really parrot a little bit about what you said about your family and so forth. The support structure is beyond belief. But the down times are my fault. I just got to find a solution to them. Does that answer your question at all?
It does. No, and I think that you really hit it, right? It ties in so much to what we think and we feel here, right? We're not focused on the bottom dollar. We're focused on doing the right thing and trying to get as many people into as many new roles as we possibly can.
That's a great way to wrap this up. I thank you very, very much for being on here. I love your transparency and your honesty.